So here's the question I wanted to ask this morning. Have you ever heard or said the following about an agent that you thought was doing really, really well? Like, wow, that agent is a natural. They get it, they make it happen, they're awesome. Have you ever said anything like that and seen an agent like that before? Say yes. Yes. Okay, or, wow, they're so lucky. I wish I was that good. Have you ever seen any agents like that? Or how about, the person is so talented in this business, it's amazing, it's a wonder that I just wish that I could do that, and I wish I could be that talented. So I want you to write down these words. Gifted or practiced. Gifted or practiced. It's the two words. Gifted or practiced. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Who's heard? Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. All right? Familiar name, great composer, lived in the 17th century. As a young man, or I guess really in his life, he died when he was 36 years old. He wrote 50 symphonies, 25 piano concertos, 12 violin concertos, 27 concert arias, 26 string quartets, 103 minuets, 15 masses, 21 operas. He completed his first symphony when he was 8 years old, and his first opera was completed by the age of 11. Gifted or practiced? Gifted or practiced is the question. Consider this. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's father, Leopold Mozart, was a composer in his own right. He was a domineering parent. Any of those have those? A domineering parent who started his son on an intense training program composing and performing at age 3. He was always, and his father, Leopold, was very interested in how music was taught to children. This was his thing. And he actually, as a performer, he was so-so. But as an instructor, he wrote a book on violin instruction that was published the same year as Wolfgang was born. And that book remained influential for the next 40 years in the world of music in that time. So think about this. Wolfgang, from an early age, 2 or 3 years old, was receiving heavy instruction from an expert teacher who actually lived with him. When Wolfgang published his Great Piano Concerto No. 9, he was 21 years old. By that time, he had 18 years of extremely hard and expert training. Gifted or practiced? Gifted or practiced? Interesting question, huh? Tiger Woods. Whatever you think of him, consider this. The guy was born in 1975. He was born in our time. When he was 3 years old, he appeared on the Mike Douglas show, and he actually played golf with Bob Hope. He was 3 years old. At 4 years old, he shot a .48 on 9 holes at the Navy Golf Club in Cypress, California. He lived right here in Cypress. He went to Anaheim High School. Anaheim High School. When he was 9 years old, he won the Optimist International Junior World Golf Championship. At 18 years old, he graduated from high school and went to Stanford University on a scholarship. And that's the year that he won the amateur championship at Saugus. At 21 years old, he had dropped out of Stanford to become a golf professional. He won the PGA Tour and Las Vegas Invitational and Walt Disney World Oldsmobile Classic. He was voted Sports Illustrated's Man of the Year. He gained popularity, and at 21 years old, signed a $40 million contract for endorsements. Gifted or practiced? Gifted or practiced? The rest of the story. Earl Woods, Tiger's dad, was a teacher the first half of his military career. He taught history, tactics, war games, and had been a high school, college baseball star as a youth, been high school and college. And during his summers, he would coach Little League teams that actually went on to win championships. Tiger was born of Earl's second wife, and Earl's older children were already grown. So Tiger was an only child to a man who was retiring from the military, who loved teaching. Earl said that when Tiger was born, he was primed and ready on the game, and had taken Tiger out and started teaching him and hitting balls with him when he was just old enough to walk. And they talked golf all the time. By the time Tiger was 21 years old, he had 17 years of training and practice from his dad and professional coaches. Practiced or gifted? Practiced or gifted? So, there's a few books out. There's some things happening in the world, because this question always comes up with, why are they so much better than them? Why is that person so much more productive than that person? What's going on out there? One of the books was written by Malcolm Gladwell, and the name of the book was Outliners. And another book I was just rereading this weekend was Talent is Overrated by Jeff Colvin. The basic premises of the book is that you get great with deliberate practice. Write that down. You get great with deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is defined as focused, intense, and goal-oriented. It's about setting objectives to improve every practice and charting the progress. Get feedback from your coaches and then do it again. Like Mozart's dad did with him, if you can only imagine what that house looked like, and what Earl Woods did with Tiger over the 17 or 18 years that he was coaching Tiger. I wrote down here, simply hitting a bucket of balls is not deliberate practice, which is why most golfers don't get better. Hitting an 8-iron 300 times with a goal of leaving the ball within 20 feet of the pin 80% of the time, and continually observing results and making the appropriate adjustments, and doing that for hours and hours and hours every day, that is deliberate and focused practice. I wrote down here, if you shortchange yourself anywhere along the way, you're not going to achieve greatness, and you've left yourself vulnerable to a lifetime of regret. Because see, what I believe is that I believe most agents their first and second year in the business probably put some time, effort, and energy into it. Not probably, they do. And hopefully, if they're with good companies and good coaching programs and they buy into it, they get a little bit better. But after your second or third year, you don't get any better. And that's an average real estate agent. An average real estate agent has learned what they learn in their first, second, or third year in business, and then they stop learning. They practice. What do they practice? What they learned in years 1, 2, and 3. And they continually do that over and over and over and over again, and they're frustrated over time because they're not working on the things that they need to do to get better. They look at some of the other agents and they go, wow, that agent's terrific. You know, how many of you, let me ask this question. Those of you that have been around 8, 10, 15 years, how many of you have been in an office or been with an agent who kind of started at the same place you did at about the same time, and that agent went on to do extraordinarily well? 2, 3, 4, 5 of you? Are they really better than you? No. They're not, are they? The difference is that they stay focused and they're consistent, almost in every single case. Researchers, according to the book, have found that practice time and achievement are inseparable. Write that down. Practice time and achievement are inseparable. Studies of 20-year-old violinists have found the best group, as judged by the teachers, the instructors, the people who teach at Juilliard, average 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. Write that down. The key here seems to be the commonality in all great. We're not talking about okay. We're not talking about kind of okay. We're not talking about average. We're talking about the great is about 10,000 hours of practice. The next best average is 7,500 hours, and the next best average after that is 5,000 hours. So what's 10,000 hours look like? It's 3 hours a day. 5 days a week is 15 hours of practice a week. Okay? 3 hours a day, 5 days a week is 15 hours. And if you divide that into 15 hours a week into 10,000 hours, you get 650 weeks. 650 segments of that. And you divide the 650 weeks by 52, and that gives you almost 13 years. Now, isn't it interesting that Mozart was practicing until he really became great, amazing, around his 20s. But he'd been practicing since he was how old? 3. Tiger Woods, a phenom, phenomenal. At 21, turns pro, $40 million endorsement contract. They say in his lifetime that he'll earn in excess of $1 billion. In excess of $1 billion, even after making a couple of mistakes and having some trouble getting back to it. We all are human. You know, I'm not condoning it. I'm not putting it down. It just take it for what it is. Okay? Look at what he did with it. The hours of practice since he was 3 years old.